Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading 1 Corinthians up to chapter 15, verse 35. Ala ere tis pos egeron tai hoi nekroi, poio de somati ekontai, aphron su hosperes u toa poietai ean me apothene. Kai hot speres u tos soma to genesomenon speres alagumnon kokon e tukoi situ e tinos ton loipon hodetheos didosinato soma kathos e thelesen kai hekasto to spermaton idion soma u passa sax he aute sax ale min anthropon ale de sax katenon ale de sax patenon ale de ichthuon kai somata ep urania kai somata epigeia ale hetera min heton ep uranion doxa hetera de heton epigaion ale doxa heliu ale doxa selenes kai ale doxa asteron aster ga asteros diaphthere en doxe. But Paul likes to set up various questions and things, rhetorical questions. So he says, but someone, ere, will say, how are the dead raised? Passive from agero, and this is a question here, but other editors don't have a question mark, but you need one here, I think. How are the dead raised? By what sort of body are they coming? So with what sort of body are they coming, literally? Aphron, now this is means a foolish one. It's alpha privative plus the phron root connected with frame, the mind. So it means something like you silly man. Su hosperes. Now as usual, the relatives are always slightly complicated because the antecedent is generally left out. So that which you are sowing, u soe poiete, it is not made alive. This is this soa and poia root. It is not made alive unless it might die. So it doesn't come to life unless it dies. This goes back to an old view that you put the seed in the ground and it's dead, and then suddenly it comes to life again, which of course is not very scientific, but was the understanding at the time. Kai hosperes, and that which you sow, u speres, you do not sow, literally the body, the one being about to be. So you don't sow the body which is going to appear, but understand you sow a gumnon kokon, a naked seed, and then we get this atukoi idiom that we have had before. Again, this is an optative from Tunkano, and this taken together, this means perchance, or literally if it might happen to be. So we render it in English as perchance. So perchance of wheat or of a certain other of the other things, that is, of the other grains. So just to do that bit again quickly. So that which you sow, you do not sow we might say the form of the body, the one being about to be, but understand you sow a naked seed, perchance, so perhaps, a seed of wheat or of a certain one of the other, we might say, grains, other types of grain. Hodetheos didosi, but God gives to it a body, kathos, just as he wanted. This is the past tense, the aorist from thelo, and it's slightly irregular because in earlier Greek the verb was ethelo. The epsilon is dropped out in later Greek, but then in earlier Greek you would have augmented it and the augment reappears. So it's just one of those fossilized forms. So the verb was originally ethelo, in biblical Greek it's just thelo. So God gives to it a body just as he wanted, and to each one, tone spermatone, to each one of the seeds, or perhaps to each one, perhaps to each one of the seeds its own body, or perhaps, and to each its own body resulting from the seeds, which roughly means the same thing anyway, I think. So to each of the seeds its own body. U passasax he autesax. So not each, now I'm going to do this literally, not each flesh is the same flesh. So not all flesh is the same flesh, but now we get a men, and we get a de, and we get lots of these allays. And we get another allay here, so we get alla allay, but there is, so the alla and alla means one sort and another. So, but one is the flesh of men, another is the flesh of katenon, of beasts, another is the flesh of birds, from paternos, this is connected with petomai, to fly, so another is the flesh of birds, another the flesh of fish, this is from iskus, third declension noun, and this is just the genitive here. Another is the flesh of fish. And understand there are heavenly bodies and earthly bodies. Epigaia, you can see the roots of this, it's epi plus the gaia from gaia, the earth. Gaia is an old spelling of gay in classical Greek, the earth. Al-hetera, and now he changes from alla from allos to heteros. There's no real difference here. In classical Greek, heteros meant one of two. And I suppose there are two things here, so that may be the reason why he's changed from allos to heteros. But in the New Testament, heteros is often used without that sense of there being two things, but perhaps he intends that to be here. And we get another men and de. So, but there is one glory of the heavenly things, the epineurion, and there is another glory of the epigeion, the things of the earth, just connected, same with this word here. Ale, he goes back to allos and allos, because here there's more than one. So there is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. Astiga asteros diaphthere, and star differs from star, it's a genitive of aster, in glory. We might say perhaps in brightness, but he uses this idea of glory. Hutos kai he anastasis ton necron, speratai en phthora egeretai en aphthasia. Speratai in Artemia, Egeratai in Doxe. Speratai in Asthenea, Egeratai in Duname. Speratai soma psychikon, Egeratai soma pneumatikon. Esti soma psychikon, esti kai pneumatikon. Hutos kai gegraptai, Egeneto ho protos anthropos Adam eis psychein sosan. Hoi eschatos Adam es pneuma so opoieun. I'll pause it there, go to the new page. So thus also, in the same way also, is the resurrection of the dead. You've got to supply is, of course. It is sown, it's not said, we're not told what the it is, but it's passive here. It is sown in corruption. This is from Thora. It's an abstract noun connected with thero, to destroy or to corrupt something. So it is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruptibility. This is aphthasia, a first declension feminine abstract noun, obviously formed from phthero. We've got an alpha probative here. It is sown in dishonour. It is raised in glory. It is sown in asthenia, weakness. It is raised in power, possibly with power. Speratai soma, it is sown as a physical body, psychikon. In fact, we get our word physical essentially from this. So it is raised as it is sown as a physical body, but it is raised as a spiritual body. And if it is a physical body, if there is, it's that use of esti. So if there is a physical body, there is also a spiritual one. Hutos gar gegraptai, just as also it has been written. Now we get a quotation here from Genesis, well, it's a quotation roughly from Genesis 2:7. Egeneto ho protos anthropos Adam es psychein sosan. Now it's slightly idiomatic here. They've got egeneto with eis, meaning to become, literally to turn into, so hence become. So the first man, Adam, egeneto eis, became, or turned into, if you will, a psychein zosan. This is a participle from tsao, a living soul. Ho eschatos Adam, you've got to supply the same egeneto. The last Adam, reference to Jesus of course, turned into or became a pneuma soa poiun, a life-giving spirit. This is a participle from the verb soa poieo. It's a neuter participle agreeing with pneuma. Al uproton to pneumatikon ala to psychikon epe to pneumatikon. Ho protos anthropos ekges koikos ho deuteros anthropos exuranu hoios ho koikos toi utoi kai hoi koikoi kai hoios ho ep uranios toi utoi kai hoi ep uranio ep uranioi kai kathos ephores samen tain ekona tu koiku phores somen kai ten ekona tu ep uranio. So I've forgotten what was on the previous page, but so it's u proton top pneumatikon, I see, sorry, but it was not at first, so the first was not spiritual, but physical. And then afterwards came the spiritual. The first man, that is Adam, of course, ekges koikos. Now, koikos is a nominative adjective. So the first man was made of dust, ekges, from the earth. Koikos, it's only here in the New Testament, and it's very rare otherwise. It's derived from the word kous, much more common word, chi omicron upsilon sigma, kous, which is used in the New Testament and in the Septuagint to mean dust. And it's a good classical word as well. It's connected with heo, to pour. So the first man was made of dust, ekgeis, from the earth. The second man, understand, was made from heaven. And again, this variant reading here. Some texts add hokurios, the Lord, to make it explicit. It's pretty clear from the context who it's referring to. Hoios, now we get hoios toi utoi, meaning as and so. For the man made of dust, so as is the man made of dust, so or such are the men made of dust. And so is the man who is heavenly, thus such also are the men who are heavenly. Kaikathos ephorasamen, and just as we have carried the icona to koiku, the image of the man made of dust, phoresomen, we will bear or carry the image of the heavenly man. Now the verb here is phoreo, connected of course with phero, so phoreo is to bear or carry. Interestingly, this is an aorist. The epsilon doesn't lengthen, which is interesting because I think in earlier Greek the verb is not uncommon, and I think in earlier Greek it did. But here it's being treated like one of those verbs like kallio or telio. But anyway, that's what it is. It's from phoreo. So for just as we bore or carried, icon from icona from icon, cognate with our word icon, image. So just as we bore the image of the man made of dust, and there's the future, again without lengthening, we will bear also the image of the heavenly man. And that is as far as I wanted to get up to in this recording, and I'll continue this in the next